Okay, 10 seconds in, we should be good to go. So, hello and welcome to the Cuddlewish Creations crafting stream for 2022, the very first one we're doing. Today is the 2nd of January. It's going to be a fairly chill stream today. I don't know how long it's going to last, but what we're going to be working on, first and foremost, remember the stockings things I made a while back? I have had time to wear them, try them out, and I've discovered a slight problem with them. Namely, they keep falling off. So, I had sewn in a sort of a hem to them, but here's what I'm going to be doing. Today, I am ripping out that hem that was sewn in, which isn't hard to do because I did it super loose and easy. I'm going to be doing a rolled hem instead to make it prettier, and I will be including underneath that hem a bit of ribbon that will therefore be used to tighten or loosen the stocking sock thingies as needed for what I need them for that day. So I only made the hem on one of them, so it's easier to take out than if I was having to do it on both. So give me just a second. I'm gonna have to snip a few small threads to get this the rest of the way loose, and then I'll show you guys the ribbon we're going to use, and also as part of that, to ensure it stays in place, I will also be using buttons. Just very simple buttons, but largish, so that the ribbon can't slip back inside the stocking itself. Good. Okay, that's all done. Okay, so unroll the hem that was rolled inward instead of outward. That, well, we'll see. If it's not enough, I've got plenty of extra string to work with. So, okay. The ribbon we're going to be using is one that I got lucky enough to find on sale while I was in some crafting store. Who knows? Michael's, Joann's, anything but Hobby Lobby, basically, because they're the one I don't go to. It is a teal. I think it'll look very good with the space unicorn theme. We're just going to clip that. I think what we're going to start with on this is we're actually going to sew the buttons on the ends of the straps so that we don't have to worry about those when we go through. I won't have to add them later. And I do want to make certain that these straps are nice and generous because honestly I think they'll look very cute with them dangling from the backs, and I can tie them in bows, etc., as needed. It has finally gotten cold enough to count as winter here in Oklahoma. So I am also wearing my very, very nice, cozy, warm onesie that says "Meet me under the mistletoe." It even has a butt flap. I will not be getting up though because the butt flap happens to have lost a button sometime last night while I was sleeping and is hanging half open, and I would rather not show you guys my boxers. Okay, so I now have the two ends of the ribbon. And I have this bag of buttons. Um, I don't actually know what all's in here because a friend of mine, the one I was staying with, she had found a sewing kit that somebody was discarding. And as I said before, I see nothing wrong with pillaging things that are going to be thrown away and would otherwise be lost, wasted, etc. There is absolutely nothing wrong with picking things up like that. So let's see if we can find two good, actually only four, two per side. So let's see if I can find four buttons that are relatively close. Okay, there's sort of. I don't think any of them are going to be the same colors exactly, but I'll be happy if they're at least the same size. Which these all, oh, that one's a little small. These two are the same size. Let's see what else I can find. They're all kind of a tortoise shelly. Oh, hey, that one and that one are obviously from the same pet. That one is not. Dead. Continue searching. Those two are the same. And that one, there's three of a kind. If I can find one more of those, I'll be set. If not, nothing wrong with one odd button. Heck, nothing wrong with none of the buttons matching, if you ask me. But some people get weird about things not matching. There's three of that one. Oh, there we go. Four of a kind. Okay. Everybody else goes back. Where did I put the bag? Okay. What y'all aren't seeing is I'm holding the cloth of my onesie out from me and have dumped the buttons all onto it, and I'm now scooping them back up off of the cloth to put back into the bag. Okay, that all of you? All right. All but the four that we're going to be using are now back in the bag. And I've got some little leftover bits and pieces of thread that I'm going to use to sew buttons on. Now it's going to be kind of funny because these buttons are actually bigger than the ribbon, but I consider that a plus because it means that I don't have to worry about the ribbon slipping back through from the buttons. Buttonhole, there we go. Buttonhole back the other way. Stop that. Not the ribbon. Part of this, I'm actually going to sew the ribbon onto the button, and then I'll be going back and re-sewing the ribbon so that it folds over itself. So you're not really seeing the stitches for the most part of where it was sewn on. Because you want to make it nice, look nice and tidy. Not as big a deal to me, but it'll look nice if I take that extra time to make certain it does look nice. Put that down. with my fingers. And now we play Where's the Buttonhole, which I can assure you is not nearly as fun a party game as it might sound. News from the world of Mason. I did get the Cuddlewish Creations Etsy store reopened for the new year. So that is done. And I haven't seen any sales yet this year, but that is okay. I am actually used to the sales being very seasonal. I tend to get more sales like just before Christmas time, or I get quite a few in the summer because people go, "Oh, I want to get this little child that I know a ocean themed summer present." And well, what better than a cuttlefish or a or an octopus, things like that. I do see an odd, well, I suppose it's not too odd, but I do see a lot of sales right around Valentine's. So apparently, lots of people are getting cuttlefish and octopus and such for their significant other around Valentine's Day, which is just kind of adorable. I love you so much. Here is a octopus. But hey, for me, sales are sales, regardless of when they're made. And I like making my custom plushies, so it all works out for me. Okay, we're just going to tie down this bit of thread that has been in and out of the various ribbons and buttonholes, because we want to ensure that it stays nice and tight. Nobody likes a loose button because that just gives you all sorts of problems later on. We will loop through one more time, pull that extra tight, and then clip it, because we don't want to clip it so close that it comes undone, but we don't want to clip it so loose that it's visible. Button attached to ribbon, back of button. Time to do this 3 more times. And I have to take pains to make certain that the buttons end up on the ribbons the same way each time, because otherwise it could be, I could end up with them being on the opposite sides and looking really odd. And if I go quiet temporarily, keep in mind I am sticking sticking needles in my mouth or holding thread with my mouth, things like that. It does make it a bit harder to talk. I am trying a slightly different way of recording today. I am wearing my, if you can see it on my ear, a uh, bone induction uh, headpiece, and I use that because I normally use that on Zoom meetings, video calls, things like that. But the people who I do those Zoom meetings and video calls with never really complain about being unable to hear me. Meanwhile, I've been told repeatedly that I am quiet, I mumble, etc. during these. So I'm seeing if maybe using the same thing that I use for video calls better sound quality so that people can hear me better during the actual stream. It also means I don't have the accidental, oops, I just caught my headphone cord on something and now I've nearly pulled my earphone out, things like that, which happens fairly often during my stream. The reason I'm doing it differently than I did last time is because this time I'm folding it over the other direction, and therefore I want my button to go where when I fold it over, it will be the right direction. You stop that. You grabbed the thing. Okay, sorry. Next, again. Once more with feeling, and then we will fold it over and tack things down from the other side. Okay. Double checking. Perfect. Okay. Yes, it did what I wanted it to. Let's tack this puppy down. Once I've got it all tacked down, then that one will be ready and we'll do the other one. Also, keep in mind this is a crafting stream and therefore I can see chat. So if you have any questions, comments, other suggestions of things I might try in the future for crafting streams, feel free to pop those in the chat. I will happily respond back. You know, depending on what the suggestion is, I might absolutely take that suggestion to heart for other streams or even for what I'm doing right now. If someone happens to be a seamstress and goes, wow, you're doing a terrible job on those buttons, you know, things like that, I listen. I really do. So I think I only know one seamstress, and I don't think that they follow me on Twitch, so might be a moot point. We did try yesterday, my partner and I, to go out and get a gym membership because my partner has been wanting to get in better shape, lose some weight that they're not happy with, etc. The gym that we were going to was recommended by a friend. However, we get there and I discover that nobody in the gym was wearing a mask, whether they be a patron or a worker. And I asked about the policy on mask wearing and was informed that people are encouraged to wear a mask, but they are not made to. There is no requirement to. Um, that was kind of the I'm not so sure about this for that particular place. And then when it turned out that the uh, price that we had been given was like half of what the actual price would be for one person, let alone two, that basically sealed it that no, that gym was not the one for us. I am considering the YMCA instead. It is more expensive instead of being $48 a month. I want to say 48 to 50 a month for the membership at the gym we were looking at. It would actually be 80 a month, but it would be for a family membership. It would include both kids and spouse and I. And that would mean that we could take the boys to swim, which they have been wanting to learn how to swim for a very long time. We have not taught them because when we did try, we previously did have a Y membership, and when we tried to teach them, they just were not ready, shall we say. They were not able to put their heads under the water for the length of time necessary to even start learning to swim. And yeah, they just, it didn't work out for us. And now they're 14 and don't know how to swim, and I'm like, that's kind of a vital life skill, guys. So maybe if we do the Y this year, we can get them to at least the point where they can stay afloat in the event that something were to happen. Sorry, I was distracted by deciding if this was long enough to do the next button with or not. It is, I think. If it's not, I can always cut it and do it again. But yeah, goal would be, my partner really needs to start doing water walking as a way to strengthen ankles and knees since they have a lot of issues with those. I would like to get back to swimming because I'm not allowed to lift weights until 6 months following my surgery, which will be, if I did my math right, late April, possibly late May. I don't know, I'm not good at math. Hold on. Loose thread on my shirt. There we go. Okay. At some point, I need to sew up some holes in this particular onesie too, but not right now. So yeah, gym membership is something we are looking into. We are very hopeful we will find something that works for our household because, you know, we'd really like to get back into going to the gym. We used to, when my partner and I were first newly together, before we even got married, we would go and work out at the gym a lot. I would lift weights. We would hit the pool at the college gym because, of course, our college had a very nice gym that was primarily for the athletes, but everybody got to use it. And I really do miss a lot of it. Earlier this year or last year, I had gotten a gym membership. I had started using the treadmill and doing weight training again, but I did not feel comfortable at that gym because I was the only person in the gym who wore a mask, and there were no protocols in place to clean any of the machines after people used them. I, of course, took to bringing Lysol wipes to the gym with me, and I would wipe down the machine before and after I used it for the sake of safety. But I really like to go to a gym where I know that it is being properly sanitized, at least once a day. Um, and I'm pretty sure that particular gym, nobody ever came in to sanitize. I think my wiping it down was pretty much it for the machine for the day. So I ended up letting that one lapse. I mean, I'd also managed to, because I'm me, overdo it, hurt my shoulder, which not a huge surprise knowing it's me and my shoulders, because my shoulders were awful. It's almost done tacking down this button on the second ribbon. But yeah, gym membership is in our hopefully near future. And we also went today and signed up for Costco membership because, buying in bulk tends to get you better deals on prices, things like that. And honestly, with our household, we tend to go through a lot of certain items, so it's just worth it more for us to buy in bulk or buy a lot at one time so that we're not having to do it. I figure even if we only go once a month to to the Costco, it's still going to pay for itself over the course of a year. We, as we were leaving, bought gas, which meant the gas was about 8 cents cheaper than anywhere else in town that we've seen. So that's nice. Oh, tomorrow I have a follow up with my surgeon. It's not. It's one of the okay. Take some pictures and send them to us, and we will tell you how it looks. It's not a okay. Come into the office or anything like that. I really can't do those because their office is in California and I'm in Oklahoma, so not really an option. And their virtual visits that they do are less frequent because they don't really need to, as long as they're getting good photos of the surgical site and things like that. Don't really need to do an actual visit. You just send them an email along with the pictures that goes, hey, I'm a little worried about X, Y, or Z. And they say, okay, yes, that's something to worry about, or no, you're fine, that's nothing to worry about. So let's figure it out. Okay, yeah, right. So I do have that coming up tomorrow. Um, so last week I tried to talk about goal setting and planning and things like that. Um, but I didn't get very far with talking about it because I goofed with the planner, which I still haven't properly fixed, by the way. I will, I promise, eventually, sometime this year-ish. Um, but I did want to talk about goal setting and what my goals for this stream for 2022 are. Now, keep in mind the goals for the stream in particular um, are just that I be more consistent about my streaming. I would like to continue with the 2 days a week schedule where I stream on Sundays with a crafting stream and then Thursday nights, well, Thursday mornings, super early, I guess it would be, with the gaming stream. I do plan to continue with Star Wars The Old Republic as the primary game, and then Secret World Legends on the last day, or the last stream of the month. Um, Crafting, I haven't decided if I'm going to continue to focus primarily on crochet, as I have been, get back to the elephant plushie we were working on, or I do know that I want to finish the memorial plushie for my friend's canine companion to that they had to say goodbye to. That is the first plushie goal for 2022 is to complete that memorial. And I I'd like to complete that by the end of January. We will see how that goes because I'm also trying to find a job, preferably before the end of January. So if I do find a job and it turns out to be taking too much time, effort, energy, etc., and preventing me working on the plushie, then I'll have to relegate the plushie work for days when I am not on the clock. Um, if I get the job that I'm hoping for, though, I should still be able to crochet between calls, and especially during training, because when I worked at this job previously for the bank, they had a 1 month training period, which, man, did I miss that with the jobs I've had since, where I had 1 week training before being thrown onto the phones for fairly technical work. I jokingly say, oh, I mostly just made people's email work, but often I was working with programs that were a lot more than just email. And so, all jokes aside, it was fulfilling work, but it wasn't easy work at my last 2 positions. Okay, sorry, trying to get this. I do not recommend doing what you just saw me do. It is not good for your teeth to pull needles through thread like that. It's just, for me, sometimes I stitch so tightly that I don't really have a choice. But yeah, what crocheting I get done in the coming year is going to be very dependent on which job I get, how much spare time I have outside of that job or even on the job. Um, I've had positions where I got a ton of crochet done while on the clock because I was doing a lot of work where it was hurry up and wait. Okay, so that's 2 of those. Okay, I saved the strands. Nope, I clipped them both ends, so I can't do that then. Okay, that's fine. I can use those for something else later. But if it turns out that I'm only able to crochet on, say, weekends, it might take me a bit longer. The goal, though, is I would like to release 1 new plushie for Cuddle Wish Creations every month. Um, we'll see. I've been a lot slower to crochet than I used to be for quite some time because not as much free time for it. There's the but I would like to do 1 new release, not a variation on an older piece or anything like that, once a month, if at all possible. If not, that's okay. That's why these are goals, not resolutions. So it's more of a if I can, not a you must. And I've got a piece of fan fiction in the work that I would like to complete. Um, I've got a piece of original fiction that is in the works that I would like to also complete and maybe even release for sale. Um, Again, goals, not resolutions. This is not a I will. This is what I want to work towards. And with goals, even if you don't achieve that goal, if you get yourself closer to it, you're still doing pretty good. So those are the goals, the primary ones. Find a job, release 1 new plushie per month on Cuddle Wish Creations. Um, some ancillaries that aren't actual goals, but they're a hey, it'd be nice if would be getting some of my crochet patterns completed and published so that others can view them. Again, goal, not a resolution. I'm not going to say I will do this. That's why things like buy a new house, which we really do need to do. We need to get a new house that is big enough for our household. We need to move. But that is not going on the list because it is dependent on factors that are way outside my control, such as the housing market, whether or not we can get a loan, things like that. Sorry. Okay. I want this to be there in the middle of the page. Why am I working from the technical difficulties? One moment. Well, not really, but yeah. Mason being difficulty. That's one more. There. This. Once more. There. Okay. Because I need to make certain that it ends up where the actual ribbon is not where the seam is going to be. So, safety pinning things in place. Because this is where I want to make certain gets some. Ow. Of course, I managed to pin myself to the fabric, as one does. Up and go up, so one down, included. It's a really big safety pin. That's not the one I wanted. I wanted one of these smaller ones. I am, of course, once again back to trying to clean around my house to get it nice, presentable, etc., etc. Not that I have anyone to present it to, since we are not going out because, well, pandemic. But it's still, nice to have a house that is not filthy and awful. That is trying to sort something out. So I apologize for the muttering and annoying repetitions and big things that I'm trying to sort out. Where in the heck this ribbon is related to fabric. I want to make certain that I'm not sewing the ribbon. I want to just sew the fabric around the ribbon. Pretty sure is what I want. Fleece should not be this hard to sew into. Normally when sewing I use a blanket stitch, but for this particular project I don't really need to. I'm going to just do a running stitch. Admittedly it won't be as secure. If something gets pulled out, then the whole thing is going to come out, which is why I don't normally use a running stitch. But in this case I don't need the security. Well, here I go blanket stitching anyway, because of course I did. It won't be as neat and tight as my normal blanket stitches, because normally those are like super tight and super close together. I don't have the rewards yet that show me, oh, you need to hydrate because someone redeemed that. So I have to do that on my own. Unless they're showing somewhere that I can't see. In which case, well, that's not very useful now, is it? Oh, I've been fiddling with this for almost 45 minutes. I had hoped I'd be done with this by then and could move on to crocheting. Oh well. So la vie, right? We all fiddle with things, and sometimes they work out the way we want, sometimes they don't. Um, Hopefully, I'll get this completed tonight before I end stream, because that was pretty. Again, goals versus resolutions. I want to get this done tonight, at least. The plushie, I definitely want to get it done. I want to get it done before the end of January because I want to get this in the mail for my friend. I don't want it to take as long as the last memorial plushie I did, which I was admittedly just so scared that I would screw it up and it would not be. I just realized I'm not getting the edge at all. So the ribbon's not being trapped, which means that I need to go back and undo this entire thing. Just hoping I can. So far, so good. One of of the biggest problems I have working with fleece is how it doesn't have easily visible um, holes for you to go in and out of when stitching. So you end up kind of guessing on whether or not you're going back into the same hole that you came out of. That just sounds dirty, doesn't it? It's not like crochet where it's nice and easy to pull things out once you've done them. Or even cross stitch, which even with all the trouble I had with it was still a lot easier than trying to undo this. Um, but so far so good. Maybe it's because this needle's so big. Probably. So I think I'm going to reevaluate how I was doing this. I think instead of doing some super complicated roll over, yada, 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 we are going to just do the one spot because at this point, the only thing that matters is that the button doesn't come out. So it doesn't matter if I achieve perfection or anything even remotely like perfection, because as we all know, I don't actually believe that perfection exists. We're all just trying to make it through and hopefully trying to make it through without harming others um, and improving the spaces around us at the same time. That's my goal. I hope it's others' goals as well. Right now, I have somehow managed to get a huge knot in my yarn thread. I think if I can do this, I can undo it though. I believe I just did. Yes! Okay, sorry. Okay, so back to there, back to there. Nope. That's actually traditional. Blanket stitch. You guys aren't getting to see this. I'll show you in a minute what I'm doing right now. Um, but all I'm trying to do at the moment is ensure that I'm getting yes. Okay. I will show you in just a minute, I promise. Because what I should be doing is I should be sewing through three uh, three layers of fabric. The original layer, the fold over, and the strip of fabric that is underneath the original layer. And now I am finally. Thank goodness. Okay. Because it is using blanket stitch instead of my originally planned running stitch, and I'm going through three layers of fabric as opposed to two, it is going to take more thread, so I will probably have to bind off and do new thread here shortly. boyfriend who we have very different schedules, and so when they do message me, when we get a chance where we're both awake at the same time, I do try to respond when I can. It sometimes turns out to be for them hours after they have messaged, and a lot of times we'll basically be ships passing in the night. And I feel guilty about it because I mean, I really do want to talk to them, want to spend time with them, but at the same time, it's just I am very much nocturnal and they are very diurnal, and a lot of times they're having dinner at the time I'm waking up for the day. Um, and then by the time I get my errands out of the way, they're ready for bed. So when they do message me, I do try to respond right away. It's easier in summer because the day lasts longer, so they're awake later. They pretty much when the sun sets, they fall asleep, um, which to me seems so weird because that's right when I'm getting my energy. Uh, okay, this is turning out better now. Okay, this fabric is just biting me. You would think with it being soft, fleecy fabric, it would be nice and easy, but no, it wants to argue. That said, that is how the inside of the seam works, and this is how the outside looks. And for me, I consider that a win. So, making progress. Probably not going to finish it on string, especially not finish both. But I think I'm going to keep working on it tonight, try to get it finished. And then hopefully I will have some progress to show you on the memorial plushie next week because I plan to work on that. I'm not going to do what I was doing with the elephant, where I only work on it on stream. That would make it take way too long because I'm going to have a lot of points where I'm like trying to get the colors to match up to the natural colors. And that's difficult on a plushie because it's having to change colors a lot. It's having to carry thread or yarn along the stitch line. Um, it just makes it take a lot longer to do things like that, and so that's why it will probably not be done as a. I'm just going to work on this on stream so you can see start to finish, like the elephant. The elephant plushie does not have the stringent requirements on matching colors. And a lot of people who are not yarn crafters don't recognize how difficult that is. So they have very high expectations that are very difficult to meet. Um, I try, but sometimes there's only so much that can be done to meet those requirements. Um, it's Um, anyway, but yeah, I do want to get more writing done this coming year. I would like to. I would like to do more crafting. I'd like to even get some more video games in than I have been, because as it stands right now, I pretty much only play during my gaming streams, which basically means that I only play for 1 to 2 hours a week. Um, and there are a lot of games I really love and really enjoy, and I just, if I'm only getting 1 to 2 hours of gaming in a week, I just don't have time to play those games and to devote the attention to them that I want. Um, so I think that I'm not going to say, oh, I'm just going to avoid social media because that's a huge time sink, yada, yada, yada. In a lot of cases, social media for me is this is how I keep track of friends that I don't see often or family that, because of the pandemic, we can't get together. Um, so social media is kind of important. It's also how I share a lot of my crafting. Um, for those who are creators, content creators, social media is how they make their money. At the moment, I don't make money from the streams. I make money from the Etsy shop, but that's been closed for 2-ish months. Sorry. Okay. It just reopened. So, I have not had any revenue from that shop for a good bit. I really want to finish this one at least on stream, but we're already running up to time for me to get my kids in bed. Um, uh, we'll see how far I get before I declare myself done for the night at least. Nope, that one missed my target. All right, back, go back through. There's an idea. I'm going back through, but I'm only going back through one because now we go through that, that, and there we go. Back to where I wanted to be. Sorry, I'm not using the safety pins. I'm not using the safety pins as much as I hoped I would be. So there's no real reason to keep them out where I could potentially knock them over and get covered in safety pins. Okay, so left we go. All right, since we just hit the 1 hour mark, I do think I'm going to go ahead and end because, like I said, this fabric is fighting me a lot more than I had anticipated. We'll I've gotten less than halfway around the leg, and I'm about to have to change threads. So I do think I'm going to end it here. I want to thank you for contacting me. I almost fell back into my old job and said thank you for contacting the company. Um, I do want to thank everyone who joined me tonight. I hope that you guys have a wonderful new year. I want you guys to have a I want you to be busy enough that you're not bored, but not so busy you're overwhelmed. And I want you to take care of yourselves, take care of each other, make goals, not resolutions. And I want to wish everybody a happy new year.